Welcome to Season 11 of Limited Supply, a place for hot takes on what it's really like building and scaling consumer brands. I'm your host, Nick Sharma. Let's get into today's episode. As a brand, you know that you're spending your hard-earned dollars driving traffic to your site. The problem is 98% of that traffic is anonymous. You don't know who they are, and once they leave, it's hard to find them again. There's a new tool that helps you identify these visitors and get in front of them. It's called Instant. Instant gives you another chance to convert these shoppers into buyers using their retention marketing platform. You can use their platform to send up to 10 times more site abandonment emails, which you know generate meaningful revenue and build audiences to retarget on Meta. Double your email revenue and increase your ROAS with Instant. Want to see it in action? Don't miss your chance. Sign up by April 1st to get your first month free. Just go to instant.one/limited to claim it. That's instant.one/limited. Welcome back to another episode of Limited Supply. Today's episode is going to be slightly different. I'm going to do something that I've actually enjoyed on other podcasts that I've consumed myself, which is going through a live demonstration or, basically I'm going to go on websites and I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to narrate everything. That way you can follow along. So I'll tell you what website to pull up, but I would recommend that for today's episode, if you're listening to it, and you're at the gym, you're in the car, I would recommend that you, listen to this now and listen along and then pull up the examples later. If you're at a computer or near a computer, pull it up as we do it and follow along with me. And then if you have any questions, just DM me on Twitter or as we're going through this, have my DMs on Twitter open and you can always just shoot me a message or email me. All right, so I want to start with, and also where did this come from? So this past weekend, I actually wrote a newsletter breaking down the funnel of one of the brands that I'm going to talk about today. And, I thought it was kind of a, hey, let me write this because I can write it out really quick. And I think it'll be helpful for people to pick up one or two nuggets. It was one of the emails that got the most overwhelming positive responses that I've probably written in a while. So a lot of people seem to like it. It was relevant whether you were a brand new company just starting out, or you were a brand doing 100 million, or a brand doing 200 million or 500 million. So it seemed to be pretty helpful. And with today's, I'm going to basically go through 20 different websites, and I'm going to pull and talk about, just kind of narrate and rattle off the things that I'm liking, the things that I'm picking up. And those things tend to be things that are kind of beyond the norm of what are the basics or, what are the best practices for a website? So some of these might be templatized websites, some might be fully custom, but the thing that I want to look for and call out to you is the things that I think are actually going to improve conversion rate in a meaningful way. So without further ado, let's get started. The first website I'm going to talk through is going to be Ridge. So I pull up Ridge and, I'm actually doing all of this on the computer. So I recommend you look at it on the computer too. Anything we talk about or sections that we like, you can check out how they look on mobile and then look at that for a design inspiration standpoint. But for the most part here, the reason I'm looking on desktop and why it's okay is I'm actually just looking for content modules that I find or UX kind of strategies, tactics, tips that I see on these sites that I want to pull from. So I land on Ridge. Right away, it's got this beautiful pop-up, full screen takeover. It's saying you've got 30% back to claim your offer. Let us know what you're looking for. Wallets, rings, travel, or just looking. Now, if I press wallets or whatever I press, then it'll ask me for my email. What does this do? This tags me in their Klaviyo as, hey, this user came in on this date and he's interested in wallets. So make sure that the post or site abandonment flow we send them is related to the wallets product. They may also, I don't know if they do this, but they may also decide what to show me in terms of the homepage right after I click that. They may decide that when I come back to the site, I only see whatever category of products that I actually clicked the first time. I'm not sure how else they're using that, but just some thoughts. Couple things I like. So at the very top, their notification bar, which basically goes through the different promos and whatnot that they're running. They actually have a Valentine's Day one, which is backed in red. So you actually notice the notification bar changing, which I think is amazing. Most people just keep the same one and they just change the text. I also like that they have this CTA style of copywriting in the notification bar. It's something that, I'm very much a fan of making things easy for people to understand. And what they've done here is they've underlined, up to 30% off. And actually, they've underlined the whole message, which to the average internet consumer makes it look like a hyperlink, which is going to encourage the click. And of course, if you put your mouse on it, it does actually go to a hyperlink. Next is in the navigation, in the just the nav bar, not clicking into the hamburger menu, but just the nav bar. I like that sale is actually colored something different. And when you click on sale, what's interesting is they don't go to a custom built sales page. It actually just goes to a collections page, which means that on their backend they likely just tag the products they want to show up in a sale. It actually makes it very easy. Now, if you click into the hamburger, you'll see a very nice navigation menu pop out from the left side. So you've got, their main products: wallets, carry, rings, travel, iPhone cases, apparel. Now, next to rings and travel, you've got these call outs, which I like because it sort of draws your eyes there. The other thing is at the very top, they've got the Super Bowl championship team, which is the Eagles. They've got a wallet with the Eagles print on it. And why is that relevant? Well, the Super Bowl just happened. So why wouldn't it be relevant? And also, it's a nice call out from, hey, you're coming here. If you're clicking the nav bar, you may not know exactly what you're looking for, but hey, new customer, check this out. You might relate to this product that we're trying to sell you now. When you get to the PDP, I love that their add-ons are actually done with an on button. I bet this was A/B tested, so it doesn't have, it says AirTag cash strap, or you can choose, the carbon AirTag cash strap, or they've basically they've got the iPhone Pro Max case here, whatever, which is actually a great case. Sean sent me one, great case. But instead of clicking plus or add to cart, which, the reason I imagine they have this on and off switch is that probably feels like I'm about to spend money, whereas this on switch just kind of enables it, or doesn't necessarily feel like you're spending that money. But then when you click add to cart, it'll add both products to the cart. The other thing I like about their add to cart button is as soon as you click add to cart, it gives you this nice check animation, which I think is beautiful and a great UX thing, just in terms of, you're basically giving acknowledgement. It's kind of like nodding your head if somebody's telling you something at the store, like a store associate. Showing that animation of a check is kind of like nodding of the head. I also do like that right above the add to cart button, they've got these little videos you can click and kind of browse and see how the product comes, how it unboxes, et cetera, et cetera. What else? Their cart's beautiful. You've got a nice banner that's kind of a focal point right underneath the products you add, which is to get the Ridge key case. And also that is in the Philadelphia Eagles skin. So they probably see that I added the wallet and now they're upselling me the key case for it. And then they've got a bunch of other upsells below. All of them are discounted as you're in the cart. This actually could just be the Valentine's Day sale being activated, but in either case, it's a very good look on the cart. If your cart's empty, they bring you to basically kind of a navigation. So you choose what category you want to shop for, whether it's wallets, rings, travel, key cases, etc. Other than that, I think that is what I would pull from this site in terms of nuggets. I really like that. I know also another thing that I really enjoy from Ridge is their actual checkout. Their Shopify checkout is beautifully done. If you add the products to cart and then you actually go to the checkout, you'll see that they have reskinned the very top, which a lot of people tend to forget. They have reviews populated. So whether or not you are signed into ShopPay, sometimes when you're signed into ShopPay, it does not show you the full checkout. Theirs does, which is awesome. They've also got a bunch of value props listed underneath the total with iconography. So again, this feels like a very Shopify checkout. You've obviously got ShopPay. It is Shopify. But at the same time, it does a really good job of still feeling like a very trustworthy e-commerce merchant. So good on them. Okay, next one I'm going to go to is tastesalud.com. This is actually a site that the Sharma Brands team built, converts extremely well. And I'm going to talk about a couple things here that I know do really well. So one is this split screen hero. This is something that does really well across a lot of sites we build. The second one is if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see this comparison chart. This comparison chart is basically a comparison chart with a video behind it. We did the same thing for Hulkin, those bags that you can schlep around. And the video comparison charts get people to stop. They get people to read it. They have a ton of engagement. So that's something I really like a lot. If you scroll down, we created this kind of flavor selector that you can hover over with your computer mouse and sort of see quick content. You'll notice how fast the content loads as well. I'll say three other things I love about this site. One is the build a bundle page. This converts in double digits and is just a beautifully built, beautifully done page. If you add products in, you've got the products that load into the cart nicely. They use the bundling on the front end, so the customer sees what the bundle price is compared to what they would normally pay. And then, of course, in the fulfillment and on the back end side and how the orders actually pass through, it goes in also very nicely for the fulfillment center. Number two, I wanted to call out here is the subscribe and save page. I think this is one of the more beautiful subscribe and save pages. Really with subscribe and save, you want to highlight why should somebody care to subscribe? Like, why should somebody put another recurring charge on their credit card? And sometimes it doesn't need to be that your product cures cancer, but it just needs to be, you just need to figure out those benefits that cater back to you. In their case, it's that you have this happiness guarantee. It's that you don't have to worry about reordering. Whatever your reason is, I would encourage you to push that. The last thing that I love here is their cart. So if you haven't already clicked on their cart, if the cart is empty, it's got social proof that pushes the energy focused product. If it's not empty, you're upselling products. And you've also got this gamification bar at the top, where as soon as you start adding more and more products, you unlock a sticker pack and then a tote bag and then, a whole other pouch, which is valued at $22 or $25. So anyways, this is something that I love. This site obviously converts extremely well too. I think one of the reasons this site does so well is, you get to the site and you're sort of immersed in their brand. You understand their lifestyle of the brand, what it is. You can see how it's different than its competitors on the market. Their content obviously is next level. One of their co-founders, Josh, is a professional content creator / YouTuber / podcaster, and just create some of the most absurd meaning incredible content. And actually, if you look at it, it's a great example of how good content and good branding will, make this feel like a $500 million brand. Next one I want to go to is Armra. So I'm just going to quickly browse the site here. Honestly, nothing too crazy on the homepage. They tend to send a lot of their traffic to landing pages, some of which we have made in the past. Their product page, I like that they have added these little stickers and benefits on the right side of the product image. I think that's something that we find also works really well. I always consider anything above the fold to be oceanfront real estate. And so having these benefits written out, these are obviously also designed by them, which makes it more on brand, makes it feel more legit, et cetera, et cetera. They've got an amazing subscribe and save box, which again kind of reiterates why you should subscribe. I would probably change up some of this UX a little bit just to make it a little bit more engaging / easier to understand. Right now, with how everything's outlined or designed, it's not clear what's a button and what's not. I do like how they took the clinical trial numbers and added that right below the main PDP image. You can still see it above the fold on desktop. And also like that they've put this stack of questions right underneath the add to cart button. But hopefully they break this down throughout the page. It looks like they break down some of those sections throughout the page. Look, I'm a fan of having all of these in drawers, but I also think it's important to list them out and sort of illustrate how it all works. But that said, it looks like they've upgraded a lot of their content. Even just the video that shows, the shirtless guy putting powder in his glass is a nice touch there. What else? One thing that I do respect about Armra a lot is they have a lot of custom animations and custom illustrations. which do wonders for product education and, just education of how colostrum works and why you need colostrum. Other than that, I think it's a pretty normal website, nothing too crazy. It looks like, if you add something to cart, you get a couple of upsells below. If you go to checkout, it is a branded checkout, which does look nice, actually. And that is pretty much it. All right, let's go to the next site. The next one I actually chose is a brand called ClearStem. I've never talked about this brand before, but I see it pop up on my Instagram feed all the time because my Instagram feed is unfortunately that reflection of probably a 25-year-old girl in New York City. That is the demographic that a lot of our clients are in. Or demographic of who's interested in the brands that are our clients. And so I end up getting a lot of ads similar. So ClearStem is one of them. And I wanted to go through it because I thought they actually have a really nice site. So it looks like it's a templated website built on Shopify. It's got a good amount of sections in it and, just looks really clean. They've got really beautiful photography, which makes the site work. If you had a templated Shopify theme and you didn't have beautiful photography to go with it, it would just kind of feel janky and cheap. But having this, elevated kind of very minimalistic theme plus that photography is a really nice touch. They've got their product carousel of bestsellers right on the homepage, which I love, right underneath some social proof. Why do I like that? Well, most people who come here probably come from upper funnel traffic sources. And so as a result, there's a good chance that they are already interested in a product. So as soon as they get here, they see the best sellers. Otherwise, they can choose between the different product categories. Love that. They've got a 60-second skin quiz. I love that they actually mentioned 60-second. I don't know if that was tested into. If it's not, you should definitely test it yourself. We know from BuzzFeed World and BuzzFeed's historical past that anytime you mention numbers in the headline or in a title, it always drives more engagement. We've got reviews about 3/4 of the way down, and then a quick story as to where the brand's from. If we click into the collections page, it is nice. Nothing really to write home about. We've got product name. Let's see, we go into the product page, nothing that crazy. I do like how they ask a lot of questions in their reviews. It looks like they use Okendo for their reviews, which is awesome. And they've got, they ask you for age range for your skin concern, whether it feels, average or smooth, whether you think the quality is, truly excellent or average, and whether you think the results are life-changing or you haven't noticed yet. And so I think it's a really fun way that they organize these reviews. But that said, nothing crazy to write home about. I think it's a pretty generic website. Okay, on to Caraway. So Caraway they have probably one of the most beautifully designed websites that I think exists. It's also lightning fast. It's beautiful. It leverages Contentful on their front end, and I believe Shopify on the checkout and back end. So right away, I noticed that they've got this February picks button in their navigation bar, where you can sort of choose what product category or type of product you're here for. And it's got these little heart animations right around it. Great way to attract eyeballs and sort of bring the mouse there. It also, as soon as if you were to go over cookware or food storage or bakeware, it sort of shows you the products, but they know people are going to click or hover on February picks. And so they've got a bundle that, is basically the bundle they want everybody to buy for their February pick. Then they've got these shop February picks. It says February highlights, microplastic free, PFAs free, toxin free tools. Even if I don't click that, just seeing that makes me associate this with all the products that I'm looking at. And it's a great positive connection there. Secondly, I would say the very right side next to Minis collection, they've got this little yellow dot, which consistently around the site is bringing your eyes to, kind of notice something. So in the navigation, it says you've got these new label tags, which are all green. When you highlight over February picks, the main product they're selling says top deal in that same yellow call out. And then the Minis collection has a little yellow dot, which also, again, kind of brings your eyes there to check it out. Outside of that, I'm a huge fan of their photography and videography. I think since day one, they've always done a beautiful job with that. I also love their social proof section where they use the left side to talk about, over 75,000 cooks have spoken. That's number of reviews. And then on the right side, they've got, a cycle between Pop Sugar, the Oprah Magazine, Refinery 29, and Architectural Digest with 4 different quotes that speak to the benefits of the product itself. So one of them, the Pop Sugar one speaks to, I can confirm it's worth the hype. The Oprah one speaks to fabulously sophisticated colors and ceramic coating. The Refinery one speaks to sexy cookware, basically. And then the 4th one also speaks to color and design. So things that they obviously know are driving the needle or moving the needle for them in terms of conversion. Now let's go into this February Caraway Favorites bundle. So it's about a $1,900 bundle available for $1,300. And let's see, we've got beautiful kind of GIF style stop motion photography. Again, nothing too crazy here. You've got your shop section at the top. You've got 4 modules of content with images on one side and written word on the other. You've got a comparison chart. And then you've basically got a warning about how long it takes for a traditional nonstick pan to release forever chemicals, which is a great selling point as to why you would buy Caraway over something else. And then you've got, another product carousel set before you get to finally reviews, which, to Caraway's credit, they have tens of thousands of reviews, which is amazing. They've also got this reviews page at the top, which I think they've always done best, where you've basically got, again, that same social proof module that they took from the homepage. They just brought it here and changed the color. And then underneath that, they've got all 88,000+ reviews. So I think this site does a really good job kind of showing social proof. Also labeling wise, for example, if you put your mouse over prepware or accessories, you'll see how they even change some of the labels around most loved. So for example, the glass lid set has a new label and a most loved label. Interesting way to figure out or just an interesting way to tag products and kind of do it in a beautifully branded way. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk about with Caraway? The last thing The last thing I will say is they have a really nice cart. As soon as you start adding things, you can actually see the savings from when you add sets. And I think that's important because, you're buying something that's really expensive. It tells you in the line item itself what your net savings are. And then at the very bottom, it takes the total set price, crosses it out next to before savings, and then underneath that gives you the subtotal. I do think it would be cool to see a final, tally of how much money you're saving. Right now, it's just within the individual products. Hundreds of brands like Garrett Popcorn, July Luggage, and Selfie Leslie are making 6 figures in incremental revenue through Instant's supercharged retention marketing platform. It takes 15 minutes to go live, and you see results within just days. You most likely already sent site abandonment emails, but because most of the traffic on your site's anonymous, you don't get to email 98% of these visitors. Instant gives you another chance to convert these visitors into buyers and send 10 times more cart abandonment emails than you were before, helping you double your abandoned flow revenue. Want to see it in action? Don't miss your chance. Sign up by April 1st to get the first month free. Go to instant.one/limited. That is instant.one/limited to learn more. Okay. Next one I wanted to go through is actually kind of a fun one. It's much different, but I feel like I learned so much about UX from this website. And the website that I'm talking about is Uber Eats. So right away, Uber always serves a pop-up if you go to their website. And, I'm always curious as to how, I think Uber Eats is a lot like TikTok Shop in the sense that the small businesses that are able to figure out how to leverage the platform the best end up performing the best and are able to move the most volume. So you get a pop-up, for Valentine's Day flowers. I think that's nice. It's very timely and relevant. Then as soon as you've got your categories at the top or kind of navigations, then you've got filters. But underneath that, then you've got all these companies restaurants that have got different offers. They've got buy one, get one free, different coupons running, like spend $20, save $7, buy one, get a free item, which is not the same as buy one, get one free. That might be like you buy a wrap and get a side salad for free. Whereas buy one, get one is just, on that specific item. Anyways, I just think it's fascinating to kind of browse around the Uber site and see how they tag products. They also leave now reviews next to each product or each meal that, has enough reviews around it, which I think is also very interesting. And the other one there is their upsells. So they do a really good job upselling you, at least on the mobile app as you're checking out. And I think that's something that more brands should try to take advantage of doing. I'm not sure why people don't upsell as much as they should. The worst thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to say no. Abandonment rate's really low as a result of a cross-sell or upsell, pre-checkout. And then, of course, post-checkout, once you've got the payment token, then, why not? Okay, not much to learn from Uber, I'll say, but it is fascinating to see. I guess maybe it's just on a more nerdy level. I get interested to see, who's doing the photography right, who's running the sales, who's, for example, with Super Bowl Sunday, I was curious to see who's running sales on wings or offers on wings, who's creating bundles for the Super Bowl, which a couple places did, but a lot of places didn't. Okay, next one I want to show is the 8 Sleep pod cover product page. So it brings me to the Pod 4 product. It's about $2,500. It's $100 off, which it looks like maybe it's always $100 off. It's got these 3. First of all, I just love their design. It's very Apple-esque, feels very high tech, which is the brand that they are. You've got 3 options. You've got the Pod 3, the Pod 4, and the Pod 4 Ultra. The Pod 4 Ultra is obviously much more expensive. It's $4,600, whereas the Pod 4, which is just the cover, which is what I have and highly recommend, is $2,500. The Pod 3 is $2,300. So you actually don't save much. And I believe this is called price anchoring, where you sort of show the one you want to push as kind of the best option. From there, as you scroll, you actually change the design of the sections. So if I scroll past the Pod 4 option, it brings me to just the mattress, and I can choose the size of my mattress. And then from there, it shows me between standard or enhanced for autopilot. And then you just pretty much go to checkout and add to cart. The site is fully headless, I believe, and it looks like their checkout now is also headless, but it's a beautiful one-page checkout. You've got the discount called out. You've got the promo codes added. You've got, it's a fully custom checkout. So they really designed this to be a performance machine of a checkout. They've also got TrueMed at the very end, which I love. TrueMed, if you don't know about it, lets your customers shop on your website using their HSA and FSA dollars, which a lot of people don't end up using. So when you can help them take advantage of it, it's great. And those are pre-tax dollars. So just another benefit. Okay, the next website I want to bring up is Manukora, MANUKORA.com. So when I get to the homepage, I see this very mesmerizing video of honey kind of being spread in a pattern 8 formation. And, a lot of times homepage heroes, they just have the worst content. You've got a static image of, somebody eating honey, but it doesn't really give you, tell me about this honey. You can't, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth 1,000,000 words. Most of the times these pictures and videos aren't communicating anything. This one is. You can see the texture of the honey. You can see how fast it just feels clean and natural because of how fast it's moving. And I love the headline here, honey with superpowers. They've trademarked that, it looks like. Right underneath it says pure high-grade Manuka honey with nutrients to support your immunity, digestion, and more. And then it's got this color-filled CTA Shop Winter Manuka kit. To the right of that, which I don't recommend having 2 CTAs, says take the MGO quiz. What I do like right underneath that, we call out social proof. So it says 16,393 verified 5-star reviews. And right underneath that, a review from Mel saying, this is the best honey in the entire world. If you care about your immune health, this is a must. I enjoy it every morning. Clearly, immunity is their best benefit that they're pushing in terms of marketing. Now, once we scroll down, I actually haven't been to this site before, but I love this shop section to shop the kit. So they call out, join the 21-day challenge. You can actually click the little icon, the eye icon, and it gives you a little bit more information on it. The kit includes 5 travel pack honey sticks, the Manuka guidebook, a wooden dose spoon, and a 21-day challenge card. And it looks like this whole kit is for the cost of $99. And you get all of this in the kit. This is basically their customer acquisition offer. It looks like it is delivered monthly, so this is a monthly subscription. But this is an amazing customer acquisition offer. It must be working well. At the very top, if you click into their product page for the winter recharger kit, what do I like? Well, in their PDP, they've actually utilized this kind of borderless image display on the left side. So you actually don't see any lines between the images that are put together. It starts with this, it says the perfect kit to prioritize your health this winter in quotes, and it's kind of overlaid in a very Instagram story format, which feels like comfortable as a consumer. Then you've got this, the product image, which are all product renders. They've added these nice snowflakes behind it. And then it's got this graphic that says join the 21-day challenge to earn a free gift. Again, that's clickable. So beautiful development job there. Right underneath that, you've got a customer review and then some more UGC and then a video and some more shots. It's a really nice organization of content here. On the right side, it starts with Winter Recharger Manuka Kit. Right underneath that, it says 4.9 stars for the rating. Right underneath that, which again doesn't necessarily mean that this number applies to the 4.9, but it says trusted by over 10,000 customers to support their health. So we've talked about using these big numbers everywhere, and that's a great place to do it. It's got a little blurb, and then it turns into check marks with bullet points, which I'm a fan of. I'm always a fan of bullet points over paragraphs. Right underneath that, it gets into the offer. It crosses out 170, highlights 99, calls out just $2.83 per day. It calls out an orange, save 31%, and free gifts at $25 value. Then it continues to show you all the stuff you're getting, what's coming for free. You also get personal onboarding. You get continued dedicated one-to-one customer support, kind of givens basically. Underneath the add to cart button, they've got this fast free shipping in the US. And then they've also got this thing that says customers favorite - over 7,000 5-star reviews. Now this just, when you click it, it leads you down to the actual reviews. But what's nice is it's got this nice animation that kind of draws your eye toward it. It makes you think like, all right, this is active, it's online. They're here, they're real, which is why I like that. We've got something that says 21 days of Manuka. That's their challenge. Again, they're just highlighting that. I like that they did this with a nice animation. They must know that these these challenge kits with challenges must do really well. Underneath that, they've got their, standard iconography for the company, the non-GMO, the corporate B Corp certified, et cetera, et cetera. And then we get into reviews, which we love. We love reviews that showcase product imagery that looks like it was taken on somebody's phone. None of these images look beautiful by any means. I mean, the product looks nice, but it doesn't look like these were taken on a professional camera or by anybody with any photography skills. The reviews are also tagged. So right above the actual review, the first one says taste, digestive health. Second one has energy and immune health. The third one has health benefits and inflammation. So depending on what I'm here for, I can just look at that and then decide which review I want to read. I also like the review card calls out verified customer. It's got the first name, last initial. That's just nice stuff. Right underneath that, we've got the comparison chart. It talks about the cost per day to serve, to have a serving of that. We've got, whether it's third-party lab tested for purity and potency. And we've also got a couple of other things that, trusted by NBA, NFL, whatever. Then it goes into reviews. Then it closes out with FAQs before the actual end of the page. Highly recommend using FAQs. I don't know who built the site, but you did almost everything I would do. So love that. The cart looks like it's empty. I would probably fill this with some social proof. The navigation looks nice. I like that again, you're kind of promoting that kit. And yeah, I don't know if there's anything really else I would change. Their product pages in general are nice. They do a really good job keeping the brand cohesive and consistent. And highly recommend. Okay, let's go to this one called Koala. Koala is a furniture brand I actually just came across as I was looking for a sofa bed for my apartment. And I thought, wow, these guys have a beautiful website. So as soon as you get here, you see a video in the hero, which, it is a little blurry, but could be done better. You've got this copy that says cozy as a sofa, dreamy as a bed, perfect blend of a luxurious sofa and dreamy bed. I would probably change that because I think you just say that right above, but everybody's here to shop for sofa beds and that's what they sell. So they've got their best sellers right up top. These guys have a very beautiful, Caraway-esque design / branding to them. It feels very clean. And they do a really good job also incorporating lifestyle, UGC, customer content, shots of the product that are just not studio like, or they don't look like they were shot just for the website, which I think is great. I do like that they've got this fast delivery, 5-year warranty and 120-day free return icons up at the top near the hero. I would probably also add some social proof. I think they've got the social proof right below the first product carousel, but that's not above the fold. I think you could probably add some social proof below the CTA in the hero or below the copy, kind of like it was on that Honey website. All right. As you scroll down, you've got a couple of different benefits as to, why you should shop from them. Then we've got more social proof calling out over 100,000 happy customers and 50,000 5-star reviews, which is also just amazing. They've got a very similar design system to Caraway, it looks like, with the labels. So, if you go to a collections page, you can see what's award winning, what's new, and what may be a bestseller also. Let's see. Their product pages I'm a fan of. So I think their product pages do a really beautiful job explaining something that is very expensive and very complex. The photography that they've chosen does a really good job showcasing the form and function of the product. And on the right side, you've got, the product title, you've got the reviews, you've got a customer quote, which I like. This one says it's absolutely gorgeous and cozier than my main bed, which is, that's a 2-for-1 right there. You've got the product, you've got the shop pay installments. It calls out the length of the couch, which is good because, a lot of people probably miss that. You've got a very easy color selector with a question mark that allows you to learn about the different fabrics. And then it even calls out when it ships, which is huge because in furniture, you never know if it's going to ship in 2 days or 2 months. You've got these videos, which I actually ended up clicking and going through and found very helpful, which shows just different customers, unboxing it, putting it together, yada, yada. And then you've got this accordion of questions where if you are basically waiting to make a purchase because you have a question, most of your questions would probably get answered here. But if not, then you can continue scrolling. They've got this 4 reasons why section, which I love. It's a horizontal scroll. I just love having these 4 reasons why sections or 5 reasons why on the product pages. I think especially for a brand like this, they're probably running a bunch of catalog ads. And so this probably acts as a good landing page. Another big question, like I mentioned earlier, is the dimensions, which they called out nicely at the top. They've also got a nice section here calling that out. I do also like that a lot of their, photography is actually animated. So it's either, they're all GIFs, but or stop motion, but it does a really good job kind of displaying and demonstrating how the product looks, how it works, how it folds out, how the storage looks. We've got a comparison chart, reviews, FAQ, pretty much standard stuff there. Okay, I'm going to do one more for now, and that is going to be, we're going to do, let's do Ring Concierge. So we get to the Ring Concierge site. Of course, they do such a good job bringing the brand together. The fonts are beautiful. Everything's consistent and cohesive. They've got this massive 30% off site-wide call out in the hero. You click the CTA there and it takes you to the collections page of Valentine's Day jewelry gifts. But if you continue scrolling, then you see probably, the best stuff. So you see rings, necklaces, bracelets, earrings, rings, and wedding bands. You've got 2 big call outs. One is the tennis collection, which everybody loves a tennis bracelet. And the second one is under 500, which is probably a big section for them that people go and shop, especially first timers. They've got reviews immediately there with shots of the jewelry being worn by these customers. Then it just goes into a couple of more editorial style content sections before finishing out to the footer. Let's go into the collections page. So they also do a really good job calling out What is limited time, what is a bestseller, what is almost gone. I like the almost gone call out a lot. I haven't seen that on any of the sites yet. They also have this toggle at the top called in stock only, which I have seen, but usually on furniture websites. I'd imagine in this case, because Valentine's Day is coming up in 3 days, it's probably most helpful for people to know what they can get now and still get before Valentine's Day. If you click into the PDP, the PDP is actually pretty standard. There's not really anything on it, which I always find so interesting in high-end brands like Tom Ford, for example, or here Ring Concierge. Like, why isn't there more talking about, the stone or where it's from, where it's sourced? Why is Ring Concierge the best place to get it? I'm not sure why, but in any case, I think the product pages could probably use some more love. The cart looks like it's not a slide out cart. It's its own separate page. But if I add something, it'll show a pop down. Will it? No, it won't. Let's see. I added something to cart and it didn't add. Maybe it's just up. Okay, now it did. So maybe it was just a glitch. It makes you go and click to the shopping bag before you can go to checkout, which I'm not a fan of. This should probably be a slide out cart just to maximize efficiency and time. The product image that's chosen here also and shown in the cart is not the product image from the collections page, which is likely just a coding issue in terms of which one you pull. I would probably change that as a tiny little diamond stud on a big side profile of a face is hard to see when you're checking out and you're about to pay $900 for. Other than that, I like at the top, they've got their, all of their things are clickable and underlined. They've got this wish list feature, which I don't see much on websites, but it's a great feature for higher AOV products or higher AOV brands. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. The only other thing, they've got a lot of accessories here, and I'm surprised that they don't upsell you into accessories. The only thing they try to upsell you into is adding a gift box, but they don't upsell you into, anything around a jewelry cleanser, a jewelry care kit, a jewelry case, a jewelry box. These have to be some of the higher margin products on their site, which is probably why they're all discounted. And I'm just surprised that they haven't done more to push that, especially if it's gifting season. If I'm buying this for a girlfriend or a wife, and I'm the guy buying it, I'm like, I got to make sure everything is there and done the right way the first time. AKA, let me make sure I also buy the gift box, not just the product itself. Okay, well, this didn't go as planned. We were supposed to try to get through 20 sites, and we only got through, I think, 5 or 6. There's just so much to pull from on these different websites. But I tried to keep it different in terms of, I didn't want to just talk about supplements or just talk about whatever it was. I tried to go all over. So hopefully this gave some good nuggets or inspiration. If this was helpful, let me know, and I'll do another one of these. And, I had another thought. I want to get your feedback. Shoot me an email if you're into this, or a Twitter DM if you're into this. But I talked to about 25 to 40 brands per week. And the one most common thing is trying to figure out, how do you, A, make your brand cool and relevant, and B, drive eyeballs, upper funnel awareness, just basically awareness. For me, I feel like, you're either going to generate awareness as a result of creating content and getting views because the content is good, or you pay for those eyeballs with ads. Now, if you want to do it the free way, which is creating content, or the cheaper way, I guess you could say, that's where I think a lot of people struggle. And what I want to do is put together a event, kind of like a virtual conference, where I bring together all of the biggest experts in short form. I know some of these people who are doing some underground TikTok stuff that no one knows about. And I think it would be valuable to bring those in and turn it into maybe like maybe it's like a 3-hour virtual event. Would you join that? If you would, shoot me an email, n@sharma.com, or shoot me a DM on Twitter. And 1, I'll just reserve a seat for you on me. And 2, that'll give me the validation to go out and make this thing happen and put it together. So if 100 people sign up, if 100 people email me or 100 people DM me, I'm doing it. I know I can get 10 or 20 times that if 100 people from here jump on. All right. Well, that is all we have for today. I know that we promised more, didn't get to it. We'll get to it soon. But I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next time to cut through the noise on CPG, retail, and e-commerce. If you enjoyed this episode, why not share it with a friend? And be sure to subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss the next one.